So I will start. We'll do maybe 5 to 10 minutes of my part, and then I will invite Evgeny, and then I'll invite Marina to do it. So we're talking about care, and to start with, I would ask you to please close your eyes and try to recall when was the last time that you've taken. I mean, throughout this day, when you took care of yourself, or maybe of others. Try to imagine when and how did I take care of myself and others in the last 24 hours. You can, well, you can open your eyes, you can write them down. Not necessarily on chat. If you're comfortable, you can put them on chat. Or if you want, you can share just, verbally. How did you take care of yourself and others, for example, in the last 24 hours? Maybe I can give an example that it's so embarrassing to talk about, but I came to see my friend yesterday, and I, for example, I don't know, bought her flowers. So simple as that. Could be that. Or for example, to wash dishes after you eat, and you're visiting a friend. Something like that. Simple as that. And I did my asanas. Thank you, Aravinda, for reminding in the morning. So that was my way of taking care of myself and doing, for example, you can say sadhana, spiritual practices. So I did all of my personal lessons, kirtan. So does anyone want to share? One or two people. On chat, you can write or you can just, unmute yourself and please share with us any simple act of care for yourself or for others, for the world that you did in the last 24 hours. And yeah, don't be shy. Okay, Nancy, go ahead, please, of course.
Hi. Okay, so just a quick example. Taking care of myself would have been I was laying down, meditating, with my stones and started feeling the energy. And I think that takes care of me. But at the same time, I started without trying to think too much of the intention because I try to be as blank as I can, but sending energy of love to one of my sisters who shared a dream with me. And I also shared a dream with her, in which I felt that she just needs a little bit of good vibration, if that makes sense. That's within the 24 hours. That's my little humble contribution to myself and to another person.
Thank you for sharing. It's really good to wish others well, to enter this well-wishing, benevolent mind state. It's good for you and for the person. Anybody else? One more person?
Well, for me personally, nothing out of the ordinary. I try to make sure take care of myself. Try to drink enough water today. Try to eat, healthy food, a lot of vegetables. Um, did my meditation in the morning, and at work, I feel like I took care of others through supporting them. I do manage a branch, and I had a lot of team members with a lot of questions today. Some repetitive questions, but I tried to maintain the mindset of support, even if I felt like certain questions were redundant or they should have known it already. Try to be very sort of a benefit to their development. So yeah, that's what comes to mind for today.
Very good, very good. And thank you for reminding about drinking enough water, feeling hydrated. That's a good, very important self-care tip. I got advised a lot by my trainer during the LFT times, LFT training. Dada Shila Badrananda always told me, drink water. You're not drinking enough water. Drink water. It's simple as that. And from him, it was an act of care, you know, making sure that I'm hydrated. If I am, how do you say, grumpy or something, he would acknowledge, is everything okay? So, yeah, lots of good examples here. Vidya Davis says, reading a book during lunch, cooking for my family. Very good. These are very, how do you say, seemingly small but very big things in the long run. So thank you for sharing those, guys, and we try to keep them as engaging and how do you say, interactive as possible, those sessions. So please feel free to write, to contribute, to raise your hand and contribute anything to this discussion. I want to start by sharing also this quote here on Zoom on the etymology or meaning of the word care. You know, it was interesting to find that there are two meanings that come with this word care. Apparently comes from Old English and means to be anxious or even to grieve, to feel concern or interest. So you can see in the Germanic language it even means to lament. So it means to have strong feelings and not necessarily positive ones, which is quite interesting, I find. Also, it may mean refer to, cry out, call. So it means to really deeply be invested into something. But also there is a positive meaning, of course, and it means to have fondness for and to be invested into something or someone, So of course, in a simple parlance, we mean care. We take care of, how do you say? Well, we take care of the needs and wants of ourselves and the other people. We really focus on what is important. So it's quite self-explanatory. Also, I want to start by, this workshop or webinar was created originally by Jivapriya, a sister from Russia. So with the help of sister Suprema from Russia, she helped to translate this workshop, and I have a little bit tweaked it, but it's based on the original one. So in the beginning, talking about self-care, it starts with ourselves. But before we even do that, when we are infants, when we are small, mother and father, hopefully our guardians, they take care of ourselves, of us, of a little baby, because they cannot take care for themselves. Same things with animals. So without love, without care, nobody can, survive in this life, So the more love, the more attachment there is. For example, in mammals, there is more attachment between a father, how do you say, parent and the child in mammals than it is with the cold-blooded animals like crocodiles or other creatures who even can eat their progeny, eat the how do you say, the eggs or their children, to put it simply. So it's a very important mechanism to care. So what about as well, so they give us care, food, clothes, medicine, shelter, education, all of those things, basic necessities they provide to us. And also, of course, intellectual and spiritual upbringing is very important. So all kind of education, it starts with inside the family and then goes on to school and hopefully outside, and what we do right now, spiritually oriented discussions. All of this is a part of care. So, but let's start with self-care as well. So what do you think self-care involves? If you have any suggestions, ideas, please put them on chat or just share with us. What do you think self-care is? What does it involve? It can be simple acts as, brushing teeth, washing our face, doing asanas, taking half bath or shower. All of those things are, part of self-care. What else? What do you think? What does...
I think it could even be the thoughts that we have. Sometimes we might provide very caring thoughts to others when they go through something, but then our thoughts, for not paying attention, they could be much more negative as opposed to caring type of thoughts.
Thank you, Japesh. That's right. And Nancy actually brought it up, like thinking good for her sister, right? Wishing well. These are all very important because thoughts formulate our actions, and actions formulate our habits, and habits formulate our destiny. It's quite simple. Tejashi, you wanted to share something, or you put your hand, or no?
I just checked chat. Self-care can be to go for a walk, maybe, or like I made golden milk for myself.
Milk? You want milk?
Golden milk with turmeric.
Oh, with turmeric. Ah, okay. Very nice. So thinking good about, your health, taking care of your health and your other loved ones. Yeah, what else we can say? We can say that, all sorts of service. I guess in yogic tradition, seva or service come to this category. So physical service, selfless, gifts of help, material, if we can, psychological or emotional, mental, all of these are important. And I think, Japesh, you mentioned being aware or attentive about, your thoughts, your emotions, feelings. All of those are very important. Um, what else? Emotional is very important. In this book that Jivapriya has recommended us to read, Five Languages of Love by Dr. Chapman, they talk about different languages of love. So one is like, verbal acknowledgement. Another one is, you call what? You call it other than verbal, kind words, affirmations for other people. That means acknowledgement, you look good. So compliments, being aware and giving it back to the people. Acknowledgement, you've done this and that. Even like these small things. Even, for example, our, I don't know, loved ones or a child or a parent who's, I don't know, washed a dish. And if we notice that, it makes a difference. And in this course, why do we teach it? That's the most important thing, to connect it. It's very important as yoga teachers, as spiritual practitioners, that we have to be careful. Not have to be careful, we have to care of ourselves, and we have to take care of our students and our loved ones, of course. It starts with this simple knowledge. So also care and nurture, being able to care and nurture are qualities and competencies of a mature person. So a teacher and a parent and a acharya, a spiritual teacher, all of those have to do in common that this person is a mature person. And the greater is the maturity, the greater is the scope of care that they are able to give. And the quality and quantity are greater. And the responsibility that a teacher or a parent want and can shoulder are greater than that, for example, of an infant. So, yeah, caring is one of the languages of love, of course. And when we care, why is that important? When we give love, we receive love. You all know this song by the Beatles. And in the end, the love you give is equal to the love you make. So that is very important, because that brings joy, pleasure, and it makes the relationship very sweet. That's why in yoga we put an emphasis on yama and niyama, on the basic principles, 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. All of those help us to establish ourselves in good relationships, and care is in the center of all of this. So we care, of course, mostly out of love, or it happens because you start to care for someone. You start to feel inside a feeling of belonging, feeling of joy, feeling of love towards the person that we care about. And of course, it is essential to who we are as human beings. So, and that translates to care for the world, care for animals, plants, humans. We have the philosophy of neo-humanism, which means love for everything. Means animate and inanimate world, plants, animals, humans, despite of religion, worldview, political affiliation, ethnic background, level of knowledge. We try to cultivate this unconditional love, which is, of course, is a lifelong journey, but we do our best. It's an effort. So, but speaking simply, yeah, that's what care is. Now, the last part of my short spiel before I give it to Evgeny and Marina, I will want to touch upon disadvantages of rendering care, you know? So what are some potential, you know, we can see lots of benefits of caring for others. And you can tell me first what other advantages or good things about care there are. We've established good relationships, good health, feeling of joy, happiness, development of personality. The personality becomes more mature, responsible, you know, they play a better position in the community, they're more loved by the community, they have more recognition. So what else, what are some good advantages of care and caring? Just put them on chat or feel free to speak. And somebody who hasn't spoken yet, please, like Vidya Devi, Marina, Padma, Ekamati. Come on, guys, jump in. Share your wisdom with us. We're building this shared, you know, collective wisdom now. Any advantages of caring? Padma, what do you think?
Advantages of self-care? Is that the question?
Self-care or care for others? Just care in general, any kind of care.
I think, well, broadly, I think caring for others is very satisfying. You know, keeps you in a good mood, makes you feel useful, worthful. You know, lot of things like that. I mean, they sound simple, but in a bigger picture, they add to character and personality, and of who you are.
It's big. You said purpose. It gives you purpose, meaning. These are, and how do you say? Humans are meaning-making animals, or not animals, meaning-making creatures, not animals. Very good, guys. Beautiful. Expands our mind. You feel happy when you care about others. Good. Fulfillment, happiness. So it's great, no doubt. Now the question is, let me turn it upside down. What is a bad thing? What are some disadvantages or potential implications that are negative sides of care? If any. Can care be detrimental? Can it be negative?
Yes, excess of anything is detrimental.
Can you give an example, Padma?
Yes, I think you know, sometimes I mean, I can tell from my personal experiences. I think people, when you're nice, people try to take advantage of you, ask for money or ask for too many favors. They take they start becoming entitled for your time and your services, and even start making you feel guilty at times for not providing that, even if it's beyond normal, and then makes you start feeling guilty, like you did something wrong, and then it starts harming you emotionally. So sometimes, yeah, excess of anything can be terrible. Maintaining the balance is important.
Thank you, Padma. Very, very beautiful. Excess of everything is bad, like Shakespeare said. An excess of what becomes poison. Vidya Devi says attachment. Beautiful. Powerful word. People could use you too much. Good. I mean, bad, but this is the reality. Annoying. Keeping someone from growing. Beautiful. That's a beautiful one, Nancy. Too much care to keep a person weak. Overprotection. Yes. So there what Jivapriya also suggests. Excessive care or overprotection deprives one of independence, autonomy and initiative. So opposite of what we as spiritual aspirants try to develop. Медвежья услуга bears favor. Yeah, Aravinda, build up, explain. This is a Russian expression. Share with us. Maybe can you explain just in 1-2 sentences?
Yeah, basically it's a Russian expression that means somebody is not asking you for anything, but you're still trying to make up for them, do some favor for them, and it turns out to be actually a worse thing for them. You know, for example, somebody is on a sattvic diet, and you know, they're cooking some food, and people who don't know about this, they come into the kitchen and they think, this dish is missing some garlic, or this dish is missing some beef, you know, and they put garlic in there. So this is an example of bear's favor.
Very good. Thank you. Beautiful example. Yeah, I've done that. Sometimes tend to do it. What can I say? Guilty. Um, what else? So here she says also, you know, mothers, caretakers, parents suffer from it a lot because from burnout, work too much, selfless service, acharyas suffer from it, volunteers suffer from it. So yeah, self-care is very important. You have to first take care of your sadhana, spiritual practice, and your basic needs before you can help anybody. So rest is also important. You know, our culture is very capitalist culture is driven on productivity. I don't want to say much about it. It's just not healthy. To be being too much in rajasic state, we are always focusing on about results, but we're not taking about rest, well-being. So yeah. Anything. Anyway, that is it for my part. Thank you so much. Let's continue this
Care,
discussion.
sorry to interrupt you, but for self-care, I mean, I'm always I not necessarily follow it always, but I try to remind my patients always about you know, the aircraft announcement, you know, have your mask first before you start helping others, you know. I always try to remind people of that, and sometimes myself too. Yeah, so I think
Very
that's it.
important. Thank you, Padma. For doctors, very important because it's all about, you know, centered on the well-being of others. Teachers, very important. Parents, most of the professions where you care. If you're professional, means you care. So anything. Anyway, please, I hand it over to what is it? Evgeny or Marina? Who's next? Whose pages 3 to 4?
Me.
Evgeny, go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So yeah. I'll start with a question too. It's what guys do think about what is hospitality? Can you share with us in chat, or like say what is hospitality, like in your own words, like what is
Maybe to say hi when you coming in, you know, to say nice words, like to maybe to tell person something nice.
good?
To be a good host, to welcome, to take care, to care more about what the person wants and needs, and make them comfortable and make it about them, not about you.
Yeah, cool. Who else?
Make sure that the person is not hungry.
Make sure of what? Person not
Is not hungry.
yeah, okay. So yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. Yeah, hospitality. So once we're talking about to be like hospitality about our like to be teachers about our like community, and I would like to say like this is before some program starts and people come. It would be good to if the presenter and the one who meets will be happy about this meeting. I mean, these feelings, the joy of new acquaintance, the joy of new people, the joy that we can share something new, especially with the newcomers. The joy that someone can share something with me. I can learn something new here if you newcomer, and yeah, we should have such a state of joy, or that someone new is coming to us. Yeah, so the feeling of joy. Um, if you have joy, it will be easy for you to be a sincere interlocutor. That is because you are happy, and it will automatically create a friendly atmosphere. Yeah, and since we all feel each other non-verbally, a person who feels a favorable mood will automatically open up to you, and he will be ready to communicate with you, because when we are in a bad mood, or a person in negative, it's immediately felt, right? Yeah, that is we can even say nothing if we have some hostility or some hatred, negativity inside. It will always be clear. Yeah, so it's not even necessary to say anything, it can be felt. Um, that's why if you have joy in your soul, you will have friendly atmosphere, you will have sincerity, and you will be happy to welcome new guests, and you will be able to take care of them sincerely. Yeah, so what else do we need in order for our communication to be good? Uh, if it is of course expertise. Um, that is, if we are running a program, it is assumed that you know a little bit more than the people who will come. In this case, it could be meditation, some aspects of meditation, its components, yoga, philosophy, and yoga practice in general. The next part is community. What's community? That is always when we have some common interests. It's very easy for us to find, as I say, a common language. We take care. We can take car enthusiasts, for example, people who love cars. They will always find something to talk about for sure. People who like to watch soccer, they will talk about the last match, who scored to whom, which club won, who is rooting for whom. Moms, if they have small children, they will also find something to talk about. Nutrition, how they treat colds, breastfeeding. There are a lot of different topics. If you want to unite a group of people who came to you, you can give them tasks to find some common interests. Can be hobbies, uh, some, for example, language learning, gardening, some hiking. And when people share what they like and find other people like them here, they will be more open right away. At every meeting, there are probably newcomers. It's good to make a small circle of acquaintances when everyone introduces themselves and tells a little bit about what they do, what they work for, and what they are interested in. This is such a good moment that brings people together. And you, as a host of the program, will of course be required to be a speaker. That is, you must be able to speak well. This means speaking clearly and understandably, explaining some terms logically, explaining meditation techniques so that everyone can understand and find them interesting. You must also be able to work with claims, with conflicts. You must be able to answer questions. You must be able to keep calm, open-minded, and to be versatile. Yeah. We're taking the lead on the conversation topics, small talk, that we are going to have with the people who come to us. There are successful topics and there are not so successful small topics. Successful topics will be the weather, holidays, of course, good news, traveling, who is into what, who works where. More compliments as well. If people come to you and you have the opportunity to compliment people, you already know and introduce them in some way. For example, to say this is a man who plays the guitar well. This man is a good cook. You can learn from him. That's a good tone. And the unfortunate topics are, of course, controversial topics, such as politics, religion, diseases, wars. It's too personal. Yeah, if you are with a person and he opens up to you and you don't mind, it's fine. But if someone doesn't open up, yeah, it's not good to talk these topics. Yeah, about his family affairs, yeah, it's not good too. It will be wrong. We all have some boundaries, and it's better to not overstep them. Also negative will be pessimistic topics, and of course, gossip and discussion of some common acquaintances. That is also a bad topic for conversations. And of course, active listening is very important in good communications. When we are not only listen, but we hear what the person we are talking to wants to say. That is, we understand what he or she is saying. We are here and now. We don't have some process in our heads that goes on simultaneously. With that, the person is telling you. Yeah, I, for example, have that. My kids say something to me, and I'm thinking about my business. They come up and pour something out to me. They want to share it, but I have my own process going on there. I'm listening, and if the process is going on, but I absolutely do not hear what they are saying to me because I have my own mess brewing in my head, and it has nothing to do with what is happening now. So listening is about physiological process, but hearing is about active listening. How we can manifest this active listening? It can be non-verbal accompaniment. That is when we do not interrupt, but let the interlocutor realize that we are here, we are with him. We direct our body in his direction. You look the person in the eyes. You are with him when you listen, when you ask something on the topic. Yeah, and summarizing, when you summarize your conversation, your interlocutor thoughts. Of course, this is a manifestation of empathy. When we are actively listening, exactly when I'm ready to listen to you. This is the position when I'm now giving you my time. I'm with you, I'm here and now. I hear everything. I understand everything you are saying to me. And this is actually very valuable when we know how to listen in this way. And this will always be noticed by the interlocutor, and it always be a plus. The interlocutor will be open to you, he will trust you, and your emotional relations, this emotional tone, it will be always good. Yeah, you will so such friendly relations because by what you listen to, you kind of invest in the person, you open yourself to him in this moment. And there are also techniques of active listening. You need know them too, but you probably all use them. So yeah. I will name them. This is paraphrasing, this is echoing, this is responding to questions, and this is summarizing. Yeah, I think that's it from me. I think communication barriers, it's Marina's part. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Namaskar. So, I would like to share a little bit more about those verbal techniques that Evgeny mentioned, it's paraphrasing, echoing, responding to questions, and summarizing. So paraphrasing is when you hear something that your interlocutor shares, and you say, in other words, the same thing. In this way, you show that you understand all that is happening in conversation, and both of you feel safe to share and to connect with each other. Echoing is when you just repeat the words that were said without changing them. The words or part of the sentence, anything that can help to show that you are engaged in a conversation. Responding or asking questions is very important, and also important to summarize the whole conversation or parts of it. There are also communication barriers that can happen. Maybe someone can share their thoughts about what can it be, what can interrupt the flow of the conversation.
Emotional difference, if people don't understand each other's emotions.
That's true. Anything else?
I guess lots of things can interfere with conversations. I think, lack of understanding of the topic, assumption, people assume something and just interrupt and start talking about their assumption, which may be very far from reality or what that person is communicating. And so many things, I think, yeah, lots of things.
Yes, that's very, very common. So why do those arise? Well, firstly, because we are different. And secondly, as a rule, we all have different life experiences, different education, different histories that go with us. And we can sometimes put different meanings into the same words. Sometimes a person may have some speech problems. Sometimes it's just a person's personality or some character traits that can both hinder and facilitate communication. It happens that it is difficult to accept something in another person, and it is difficult to communicate. And so let us now take a closer look at what it is a communicative logical barrier is. This is when a person does not know how to express his thoughts clearly. He seems to speak a lot, but he speaks vaguely, and some clear thought is not traced. So this is a logical barrier. There is also a semantic barrier. It is about the fact that we have different experience behind us. It is when we can put different meanings into the same words. There is also phonetic barrier. It is when there is a violation in speech technique, or when a person has parasitic words in speech or a lot of extra sounds. There is also a personal emotional barrier. This is when there is some special feature individual has, or some peculiarity which stops us our perception of a person and makes it difficult to understand him. So there are some ways how we can overcome these barriers. For example, logic barrier. How can we overcome this one? Do you have any ideas? Logic barrier is when we can't clearly understand what person is telling us.
Just the other day, I experienced something very interesting. I saw my neighbor after a very, very long time outside at a gathering, and I said, "Hey, so you're alive?" So she got so mad, and she said, "Well, same to you." You know, she thought I'm saying you're dead or something. You know, I'm like, oh my God, you know, serious. So, you know, sometimes, you know, just people's understanding. And I think when somebody's not very logical, I think we have to be careful how we word things, and have very speak to them softly and slowly and in a non-threatening manner. You know, I think, and sometimes it's best to keep the conversation short.
Okay, so we can also ask clarifying questions, for example. We can summarize the thought and explain it, or ask if we understand it correctly. And if it's about us, if we can't communicate very logically, we can try prepare beforehand. So the next one is semantic barrier. So this is when we have different meanings. We put different meanings into the same words. So if you want to resolve this barrier, you can ask a person in detail what he means. You can assume what he or she means, and you can ask, do you mean this and this, or something else? Also, in this case, you can start a conversation with clarifying the meanings of the ideas or concepts that we're going to discuss later. So both of us understand what's happening and what we put into each and every word. There is also phonetic barrier, and that's when a person may stutter or make a lot of unnecessary sounds. If you already have a friendly communication, you can gently tell your interlocutor that it is difficult for you to understand him. You can try to ask him to repeat the words that you did not understand, or to speak slower. Sometimes we just have different rates of speech. For example, someone speaks very fast, someone speaks very slowly. In fact, our task, if we want to be successful in communication, sometimes it may even be worth adjusting to the person we're talking to. So if you see that he is very slow, you can slow down your speech on purpose. And if you see that a person speaks quickly, that he has a quick reaction, you can also make your speech faster. And so there is also a personal emotional barrier. Of course, we need to learn how to control our emotions, learn to accept people, and to separate feelings from facts. But we also can find what unites us in the end, what makes us similar in some things. Next thing is what mistakes we may make when communicating with people or in groups, especially in some established groups. So Jivapriya says, she gives an example about working in a megaphone. It's something similar to Fito. And they had a rule that they never evaluated the tariffs of other operators. That is, they could never say that, for example, Freedom's tariffs were bad. It was impossible to say that. They told about the services they provided, and that's it. They couldn't say that tariffs of other operators were better. They just said, you have to decide for yourself. Also, disrespect for other traditions is the same thing. It's unacceptable. We should not compare or judge. We accept that there may be other traditions, there may be other paths, that the person can try everything. But here we practice this kind of yoga and this kind of meditation. Also, there is this thing when newcomers come to a new event and they are treated differently. Sometimes the attitude is that everyone has achieved something, but you are still at the beginning of the path. And it's like this attitude of looking down on someone. I have almost reached enlightenment and you are somewhere out there. And this attitude is arrogance, some kind of pride for one's post-enlightenment or for one's practice. It actually distances us from people very much, and we cannot be friends with anyone in this state. That's why we have to keep track of it in ourselves. And if we see it in a group, it is better to tell about it. If there are some practitioners who have been practicing yoga meditation for a long time, we need to give feedback in private. Just the two of us, we should say, let's keep it simple. We're all on the path here, and there are no super people or non-super people. Also, about criticizing other people. Criticizing some other traditions will be a violation. First off, it always causes negative emotions when someone criticizing someone. And it lowers your emotional bank account immediately. That is, people feel that you can probably say that about them. So if a person leaves and something goes wrong, we feel it. If a person behaves like that, it is a negative factor to his or her character. Also, if you are running a program, you have to be on time. You have to be early for that program. And one other thing is about our appearance. That is, we as representatives of meditators, Jivapriya says that she would like us to have a pleasant appearance, clean hair, clean clothes, neatness in everything, and of course a clean room where you conduct programs. It is desirable that there is nothing superfluous. Clean floors, clean mats, clean windows, that its cleanliness should be there. Yeah, I think that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Such an eloquent and great and succinct description. All the points are very important. Learned a lot. One idea that came to my mind when Marina you were speaking, not criticizing any other traditions, spiritual paths, or even religions. I think it's okay to uh, critically analyze and try to understand, but non-judgmentally. It's very important to try with curiosity of a researcher, of a student, to always like be humble and try to understand other paths, other traditions, and because it will even improve our own understanding of our tradition, of our path, and but yeah, the key thing is not to be judgmental and not to judge and not to criticize traditions and people or anything. That's important. That's key. Okay, we are how do you say 4 minutes over. So any more comments, questions, feedback? I think it's been very inspiring meeting today. So thank you to the presenters, thank you for listeners, thank you all to all the members today, guys who joined. Thank you very much. There's one homework assignment that I want us to all. Padma, go ahead.
I said thank you as well
Thank
for
you.
organizing. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a team, and thank you for being part of the team. It's important. So the homework here is the same one, guys. Alana, thank you. Yeah, thank you too. Thank you. So the homework is to start another journal. I told you to stop the previous one now, the meditation journal. Now we'll start with care journal. So the care journal, basically a PDF, notes, whatever software you're using is fine, or paper is fine. So the idea is to every day start to notice in the end of your day, how have I taken care of myself? And how have I taken care of others? What have I done? Parents, relatives, friends, community, colleagues, customers, whatever, whoever. So, and notice what kind of service have I done? Physical, mental, spiritual, or economical, social, whatever. All of them are important. So I will also share it on our group on Telegram. And we will next week continue with this, how do you say, we're discussing the book, Five Languages of Love, and the book that I also recommended to you by Dr. Miller on love and care. So please, how many of you have bought or started reading on any of the books?
I actually received both books today. So I'm
Oh,
gonna get
good.
started.
Japesh, very good. Brilliant. Okay, anyone else? These are really
I have read Five Languages of Love long ago, so
good.
I kind of have an idea. Actually, probably I have it even in a house somewhere.
Very good, very good. I do recommend the other one as well. Okay, Evgeny got it. Very good, very good. All right. Okay, so thank you everyone. Um, I'll see you next week. I'll stop sharing now.